Those who suffer from obesity or just have a few extra pounds will agree that trying to lose weight can be very frustrating. Why do so many people still fail when they try to lose weight, especially with all we know today about how the human body works? To answer that question in today's natugood summary, we're going to learn about the ideas in Stephen Guise's book, Mini Habits for Weight Loss. He says that we are able to develop strategies that can be improved over time. We can start by changing our lifestyle and shift our focus away from diets and more towards developing mini habits. Mini habits are really small. This is how you will achieve your results very easily, by setting goals that are easy to achieve. Just to give you an idea, this entire weight loss strategy came from an idea that seems a bit ridiculous, to do just one push-up per day. Let's take a look at how this unusual idea works. Mini habits are so easy that it is impossible to fail. Trying to create impossible habits is a mistake. Instead of creating unrealistic habits that we'll probably not be able to stick to, instead we must create mini habits that will definitely succeed at. For example, here's an example of a great big habit that it's basically impossible to keep up, to go from zero and start to do 30 minutes of exercise every day. What happens? That promise is soon broken on a rainy day, a day there is an emergency, or when we just don't have the energy to exercise. Now let me give you an example of a mini habit that is absolutely guaranteed to succeed at. Imagine that your goal is to do just one push-up per day. Can you do one push-up per day on a rainy day, even when there is an emergency, even when you don't have the energy to exercise? Yes! Success is absolutely certain, because doing just one push-up does not require a lot of motivation, does not require a lot of willpower, does not require much willingness. Of course, a daily push-up alone will not make you lose weight, but that's not the logic behind the mini habits. The objective here is to use these habits to help you develop new behavioral tendencies, habits so small that it's practically impossible to fail. Whatever comes from this daily achievement is an added bonus. If you're already in the push-up position, you may be motivated to do just another one, or maybe another 10, or 20, or even half an hour of exercise. But this is a bonus. What actually matters here is that you develop this mini habit, something that will add up over time. Mini habits accumulate exponentially over time. When we try to lose weight, we tend to focus too much on the short term, forgetting about the long term. We fail to see clearly how these small gains accumulate over time, eventually producing impressive results. Just to give you an example, if you lose only 200 grams a week, you're gonna have lost 11 pounds, around 5 kilograms by the end of the year. And since you're going to lose that weight gradually, you're now gonna have a much lower chance of gaining it back again. If you had lost the same amount of weight in, let's say, 30 days, following some crazy diet, you would probably fall into a yo-yo dieting cycle. Many habits work by slowly adapting yourself to the way our brain changes. Our brain changes slowly, using motivation and willpower. Don't rely on your motivation alone to be losing weight. One of the main reasons we're able to use the mini habits to our advantage is because we're able to recognize the limits to our motivation. Motivation is a weak foundation for building long-term change. Some days we are extremely motivated to do something, but the next day our motivation is nowhere near the same, and then the motivation comes back, and then it goes again. So motivation is too variable to serve as the basis of a transformation process. Because of the inconsistency that motivation has, some recommend that we base our goals on willpower. Note that we're talking about two different concepts here. Motivation is being motivated by a natural, spontaneous desire to do something. Willpower is a similar concept, but it is different. Willpower is when you push to accomplish something that you don't have a natural desire for. That is, even on the days that you don't have the motivation to follow a proper diet or exercise, you can do this conscious effort using your willpower to overcome this lack of motivation, allowing you to push on forward. And the problem is that many scientific studies have already proven that our willpower is an extremely limited resource that gradually runs out the more we use it. The more willpower you have to use to do a particular task, the less willpower you will have to use on something else later. So you have two variables that you can't control: motivation and willpower. Firstly, you cannot control your motivation because it comes and goes according to any number of different factors. And secondly, you can't control your willpower reserve if you are frequently draining it. So, What can you control? Well, you can control how much of willpower you have to use up. If you use up just a tiny bit of willpower every day, such as doing one daily push-up, then you always have the willpower in reserve to move forward a little bit every single day. Taking these small steps aligns perfectly with the way that our brains change slowly and resist change. This is why you need a smart strategy. And generally speaking, our brains resist change. That is why losing weight is so hard for most people. It is down to the fact that most of what seeing people doing about weight loss is absolutely wrong. A smart strategy to weight loss should go beyond just looking at carbohydrates and fats and calories. To lose weight and stay in the ideal weight for the rest of our lives, we need to find a strategy that puts us into a consistent long-term routine, a strategy that truly redefines your nutritional understanding, a strategy that works for the rest of your life. And because of this, you should go beyond just being concerned about the number of carbs and fats and calories that you consume. If you're finding an obvious solution would be so simple, so easy, there wouldn't be nearly so many people around the world suffering from obesity. What you need is to genuinely refine your nutritional understanding. This kind of re-education cannot be too restrictive because the mini habit strategy is based on creating plans that are easy to put into practice. Excessive restriction over a long period of time means that you're not going to be able to maintain consistency. The central idea of mini habits for weight loss is to ensure consistency for long-term results. To undergo such a revisal of your nutritional knowledge, you need to build lasting habits. Forget about diets and focus on habits. Habits that are easy to do, easy to adapt into your schedule. This will require you to undertake 3 types of strategy: a general strategy, a nutritional strategy, and an exercise strategy. Let's take a look at each one of them. 1. Establish a general strategy. The objective of mini habits is turning what usually is a difficult path to walk down to one that is noticeably easier. Difficulty is a perceived thing. If you can set goals that are easy to achieve, your perception of difficulty changes. And seeing that you can achieve your goals every day creates a positive reinforcement cycle. The main objective of our strategy here is not to lose weight, but instead of that, to change our behavior. Instead of focusing on the numbers on the scales, focus on whether or not you have carried out your mini habits every single day. Instead of focusing on the end result, focus on each small step of your journey. The purpose of mini habits is to avoid any form of rushing. Our body changes slowly, and any attempt to accelerate the process may end up having the opposite effect. This rush usually comes from the idea that the weight loss process is linked to the idea of loss. We are missing out on delicious foods, we are wasting time, exercise instead of having leisure, we are missing social events in order to stop eating. Instead of that, think of the entire weight loss process as something that you're gaining, you're adding to your life, you're entering a new world of delicious food options, getting a new hobby, and without even realizing, increasing your levels of energy, improving your health, and rewarding yourself with a fresh outlook for life. This change in mentality does not happen overnight. It comes from practice every single day. Every time you perform a mini habit, the way your brain processes information will change a little bit. Your overall strategy should also make it clear which dangerous thoughts to avoid. Thoughts such as, I deserve this little treat, this dessert, this getaway is just an exception, everybody else is doing it. These can also sabotage the entire weight loss process if it becomes too frequent. Number 2, establish a nutritional strategy. Moving on to a more concrete step, you must define what your practical diet strategy for weight loss will be. This is one point that you should consider above all others. Ultra-processed food is primarily responsible for weight gain. It doesn't matter if you have been taught that you need to control your carbohydrates or fats or calories to lose your weight. Forget the quantity paradigm and focus on food quality. Your focus should be consuming foods as close to their natural state as possible. Ideally, things that our ancestors could be hunting or gathering in the wild. Meat and eggs and seeds and vegetables and fruits and nuts. And overeating these foods is quite difficult because they are nutrient rich. They fill us up faster than bread and soda and pasta and candy and other types of processed foods made from sugar, wheat, vegetable oils, and processed additives. In addition to naturally containing fewer calories, foods in their natural form cause also less body information. The philosophy of the mini habits does not ask you to completely or immediately eliminate all the processed foods, because after all, that would be the kind of a change that will be difficult to implement and keep. Every transformation is more likely to be accepted in the long run if it is promoted gradually. For example, if you don't eat any vegetables at all, you can set a goal of just eating one piece of broccoli per day. And this is very similar to the idea of one push-up per day. What matters here is the development of a habit, regardless of the immediate outcome. That is why you must take the process extremely easy. Think about the mini habit as a way to kickstart a process. Eating just one piece of broccoli per day is what sets the wheels turning. Before you know it, you're not going to be eating more vegetables in your meals. And when you start a process, it's more natural to continue doing it than when you are not doing anything at all. This is for food and also for exercise. Number 3, establish an exercise strategy. Exercise does not influence weight loss as much as eating. If you're not eating well, exercise cannot compensate for a poor diet. But if you have already a good diet, exercise will help you to lose weight as well as bring other health benefits. One of the most important ideas behind your exercise strategy is that it should be fun. That is, you should be finding some exercise that not only is easy to achieve, to perform, to do, but also that is enjoyable. So if you don't like gyms, there is no reason to force yourself to go to one. Instead of that, you should find an activity that you enjoy. It can be dancing, swimming, playing soccer, doing yoga, anything else that you find fun. What is important is that your mind associates exercise with something fun and not as a sacrifice that is needed to reach a particular weight loss goal. And once you have decided your ideal activity, you should set a daily goal for that activity, your mini habit. Since the beginning of our conversation, I've been using the example of the one push-up, but of course it's not the only option. You can do one squat, you can do dancing for 1 minute, you can hold the yoga pose for as long as you can hold your breath, whatever works for you. Always remember that the goal is not the weight loss itself, but to develop a habit. Redefining your identity as someone who exercises regularly. Many habits seem ridiculous until you experience the results. As much as we've been told that many habits will work, I know it seems ridiculous to say that eating a piece of broccoli per day or doing one push-up a day will make you lose weight and never put it back on. Now, almost everyone laughs at the idea until they see the results with their own eyes. And as it may have already become clear, what makes you lose weight is not that one piece of broccoli or the daily push-up. It is the fact that you are setting yourself in motion to act consistently for a long time, incorporating this new behavior into a new version of yourself. And this means that it is pretty likely that you take a second bite of broccoli or you do a second push-up, perhaps even 3. And over time, these little habits build up exponentially and form your new identity. A type of a person who eats well, who exercises, who takes care of their own health. And that kind of identity is what will make you lose the weight you want that you never want to put it back on again. So focus on real actions by carrying out the mini habits that you have set for yourself. Try to set a sort of a routine to help you to do the mini habits. It could be a specific time of the day or after a specific event. If it is possible and fun for you, mark on a table or in a habit tracking application the number of days in a row that you following your habit. Try to never miss a day, but if you do all you can to make sure that you never skip your mini habit for 2 consecutive days. Because missing 1 day is an accident, but missing 2 in a row can be the beginning of a bad habit that can end your entire weight loss process. If you're failing to act too often, your mini habit is probably not that mini. Try to make the habit a little smaller, a little easier to do. Or maybe you have set too many mini habits at the same time without realizing. So try to limit yourself to a maximum of 4 mini habits at a time. And always remember to make everything very easy. Instead of creating complicated meals, focus on foods that are easy to make, easy to carry, easy to eat. Only those who have already tried and failed to lose weight know how difficult it is, not just to lose weight but also to stay slim in a fit shape for a long time. The main reason for this is that we have many ambitious goals which focus on trying to lose weight in a much shorter period of time and then we put it back on. Today you will learn a new strategy. It is a strategy based to lose weight easily, and it is easy because the mini habit is easy. If it is difficult or complicated, you will probably not stay consistent in the long run. You should use the strategy of developing your mini habits that will last a lifetime. And this habit-forming strategy is the foundation of all good nutritional education, such as the one that we presented in the natugood weight loss course, and you can start the course right now by watching a free class on how to feel fuller and have less cravings for junk food by controlling a hormone called leptin. And to watch that class, you can visit arata.se/leptin.